As the years pass, relationships evolve and change in ways both subtle and profound. In many long-term marriages, what once burned brightly with passion and mutual discovery can gradually be replaced by a cool familiarity that leaves one partner, often the woman, feeling emotionally distant and unfulfilled. The shift is not usually the result of a sudden falling out of love. Rather, it is the accumulation of everyday moments and unspoken disappointments that reveal a deeper truth. Love is not a static emotion, but a dynamic, evolving force that demands continual nurturing and growth. 1. When life changes but love doesn't evolve. Over the decades, both partners experience significant personal transformations. Women, in particular, often find that as they mature, their desire for new experiences, intellectual stimulation, and personal growth intensifies. They long to explore creative pursuits, expand their knowledge, and immerse themselves in fresh perspectives. Yet, if their husbands remain tethered to routines and mindsets that once sufficed but now feel limiting, a disconnect emerges. She may watch as her inner world blossoms while his remains stagnant, clinging to the familiar even when it no longer aligns with the vibrancy of her evolving self. This disparity can foster a sense of isolation, a feeling that she is living two separate lives under the same roof. The emotional gap widens as she yearns for a partner who is willing not only to acknowledge her personal evolution, but also to grow alongside her, sharing in the excitement of change and discovery. 2. The invisible burden becomes overwhelming. For years, many women have carried the weight of the household in silence. They manage birthdays, coordinate schedules, plan family events, and handle countless small details that keep daily life running smoothly. This emotional labor, though indispensable, often goes unnoticed or unappreciated by their partners. What begins as a series of small, caring acts gradually accumulates into a heavy, invisible burden. Over time, the lack of recognition and reciprocal effort makes these tasks feel like obligations rather than expressions of love. Instead of being celebrated as contributions to the family's well-being, these efforts become expected behaviors, taken for granted as if they were simply part of her role. The constant, unacknowledged labor can leave her emotionally exhausted, as if she is shouldering not just the day-to-day logistics, but the very foundation of the marriage itself. This imbalance breeds a quiet frustration, a lingering question of why her contributions are invisible to the one she once believed shared her journey. 3. Conversations become empty and predictable. In the early days of a relationship, every conversation is an opportunity, a chance to learn about each other's dreams, fears, and aspirations. Words flow easily, brimming with curiosity and a genuine desire to connect. Yet, as the years pass, these once vibrant exchanges can devolve into a series of repetitive, superficial dialogues. Discussions become dominated by mundane topics, the grocery list, the state of the house, or the minutiae of everyday scheduling. The depth that once defined their interactions gives way to predictability, leaving little room for the kind of heartfelt communication that fosters intimacy. When the rich tapestry of conversation is replaced by routine small talk, she may begin to feel as though her inner life has been silenced. The partner who once asked, "How was your day?" now seems preoccupied, leaving her thoughts and emotions to echo in a void. This erosion of meaningful dialogue gradually creates an emotional distance, as the absence of deep, reflective conversation undermines the sense of connection that once made her feel truly seen and understood. 4. Small annoyances turn into deep resentment. In any long-term relationship, minor irritations are inevitable. A forgotten chore here, a misplaced item there. These are the small imperfections that come with sharing a life. Initially, such oversights are easy to forgive, seen as mere quirks in an otherwise harmonious partnership. However, when these minor annoyances pile up over years, they begin to symbolize something much larger, a pattern of neglect and imbalance. For many women, each overlooked responsibility, Each small act of indifference slowly accumulates into a reservoir of deep-seated resentment. A dirty dish left in the sink or an unfolded pile of laundry eventually transcends its literal meaning, becoming emblematic of a lifetime of feeling undervalued. What was once tolerable becomes unbearable when it serves as a constant reminder that our efforts are not reciprocated. The gradual buildup of these seemingly trivial frustrations can transform everyday irritations into poignant symbols of emotional abandonment, reinforcing the painful gap between expectation and reality. 5. The disappearance of intimacy. Intimacy in a marriage is far more than physical closeness. It is the profound emotional and psychological connection that makes each partner feel cherished and seen. In the early stages, intimacy is expressed in many small gestures: a lingering touch, a sincere compliment, or a spontaneous moment of affection that reaffirms their bond. Over time, however, these tender moments may begin to fade. When a husband's affectionate glances become rare, or when the casual touches that once spoke volumes now seem absent, the cumulative effect is a chilling emotional void. Without these expressions of warmth, she might start to feel invisible, a spectator in a relationship where she is no longer the priority. The gradual disappearance of these intimate exchanges can leave a lasting impact on her self-esteem and the overall vitality of the marriage. In the absence of regular, heartfelt gestures, love itself begins to wither, replaced by a cold indifference that creeps in with every unreturned caress. 6. Retirement, freedom, or confinement. Retirement is often imagined as a golden period of relaxation and shared adventures, a time to finally enjoy the fruits of a life's labor. Yet for many couples, this phase of life reveals long-buried issues. Suddenly, with ample time to spend together, the dynamics of the relationship shift dramatically. If one partner, frequently the husband, lacks personal hobbies or interests, he might inadvertently place the entire burden of companionship on his wife. What was once a balanced partnership can morph into a situation where constant togetherness feels less like a shared adventure and more like confinement. Instead of enjoying newfound freedom, she may feel trapped in a relentless routine where the boundaries between personal space and marital obligation blur. The very period that was supposed to be liberating becomes a reminder of the unequal distribution of interests and responsibilities. Without opportunities for individual pursuits, both partners risk losing a sense of self, leading to a suffocating environment where personal fulfillment is sacrificed on the altar of routine. 7. When appreciation fades, so does love. In the tender early years of marriage, expressions of gratitude and admiration flow freely. Every kind word and thoughtful gesture serves as a reaffirmation of love and mutual respect. Yet, as time passes and the excitement of early romance gives way to routine, these expressions can begin to wane. The simple act of saying thank you or offering a genuine compliment becomes rarer, replaced by an unspoken assumption that the efforts are simply part of the marital fabric. For a woman who has devoted herself to nurturing the relationship, this lack of acknowledgement is deeply painful. The absence of appreciation sends a quiet message that her efforts, her sacrifices, and her emotional labor are invisible. When every little contribution is taken for granted, the cumulative effect can be devastating. Over time, this emotional neglect transforms love into something resembling quiet resentment, a slow, steady erosion of affection and admiration. The once vibrant spark dims, leaving behind a sense of disillusionment and isolation. 8. A new perspective on life. As the years accumulate, life inevitably imparts wisdom through experience, through joys, losses, celebrations, and heartbreaks. Women often find that the passage of time brings with it a profound shift in perspective. They witness friends move away, endure the sorrow of losing loved ones, and face personal challenges that force them to confront the fragility of life. These experiences often lead to a reevaluation of what truly matters. The endless cycle of day-to-day routines begins to feel empty if it is not accompanied by genuine emotional fulfillment. With a renewed sense of self-awareness, she may start to ask herself the hard questions. Am I truly happy? Do I feel loved? Is this the life I envision for myself? This internal questioning is not born of bitterness, but rather a deep-seated need for authenticity and emotional security. When the answers to these questions fall short of her expectations, the natural response may be to withdraw emotionally. This retreat is not an act of defiance, but rather a protective measure, a way of preserving her sense of identity in the face of ongoing neglect. The result is a growing chasm between her inner world and the external reality of a relationship that no longer seems to fulfill her deepest needs. The choice to keep love alive. The slow fading of love in a long-term marriage is rarely a sudden, dramatic event. It is the cumulative effect of countless small moments. Moments when connection was overlooked, when understanding was compromised, and when mutual effort was taken for granted. Yet, there remains a powerful truth. Love is not a finite resource that simply vanishes with time. Like a delicate garden, love requires ongoing care, attention, and the willingness to nurture it even in the face of life's inevitable changes. For husbands, the call to action is clear. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly listened to your wife? Consider the quiet power of genuine attention. The way a sincere question or a heartfelt compliment can bridge the emotional gap. It is not enough to simply be present. True presence means engaging with her on a deeper level, understanding the emotions behind her words, and showing that her thoughts and feelings matter. Even small gestures, a spontaneous hug, a handwritten note, or a moment of shared silence can serve as potent reminders that she is seen, valued, and cherished. For wives feeling the weight of emotional distance, there is hope in the possibility of reconnection. Reclaiming your own happiness may begin with honest communication, sharing your feelings, desires, and disappointments with the partner who, perhaps unknowingly, has grown distant. Opening up about your need for deeper connection is not an act of accusation, but an invitation to rediscover the bond you once celebrated together. It is a courageous step towards redefining the relationship in a way that honors both partners' growth and individual needs. Marriage is not a destination, but an ever-evolving journey, one that demands continuous effort and mutual understanding. Each day presents a new opportunity to choose love, to invest in the relationship with small acts of kindness, renewed curiosity, and shared vulnerability. Whether it is through rekindling those deep conversations, sharing responsibilities more equitably, or simply taking the time to appreciate one another in the midst of busy lives, there is always a way to bridge the growing gap. Ultimately, the fading of love is not an inevitable consequence of aging or routine. It is a reflection of what happens when we stop nurturing the very essence of our relationships. Love, in its truest form, is resilient. It adapts, evolves, and can be revived with intentional effort. The key lies in recognizing that every quiet moment, every overlooked gesture, can either contribute to the distance or serve as a stepping stone back to intimacy. Let this message be a gentle reminder. Love isn't lost with age. It is lost when we cease to invest in it. Choose understanding over indifference, empathy over routine, and let your commitment to one another be a daily act of rediscovery. In the end, the enduring beauty of a long-term relationship lies not in the absence of challenges, but in the willingness to face them together, side by side, with hearts open to change and minds ready to grow. So, as the years continue to unfold, remember that every day offers a fresh opportunity to renew your connection. Choose love, choose understanding, and above all, choose each other, with a commitment to nurture that spark, ensuring that the warmth of your affection is never allowed to fade into indifference.